afternoon, wherever you are in the art world. This morning, we are with the fabulous and inspiring Maryam Eisler from London, from Lindsay in Pimlico, with a wonderful, wonderful exhibition on Once Upon a Turquoise Bus. And for you, I'm wearing something almost turquoise. And with their photographs inspired by the past and rooted in the present. Maryam, you have, and we have the wonderful curator, Carrie Scott. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
So early with our breakfast art talk today. My coffee here. And the wonderful stylist and designer, Anne-Sophie Hushvelu. Hello.
That's right. Well done.
Okay, so Maryam, could you, because we had the honor in the Art Talk magazine to have already seen a glimpse of your wonderful pictures and essay, which was so overwhilling and beautifully written about your exhibition. So, but now here it is.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We're just delighted, especially pre-Christmas. It's such a festive and joyous season to be doing this, especially now that Lindley looks so beautiful, all dressed up, ready to go for Christmas, and we have our own Christmas tree right here. But no, really, Carolina, I wanted to thank you personally, and Jean-François as well, because you were the first people through the Art Talk magazine to actually take interest in this series and do a coverage, which was really beautifully done and beautifully laid out, and where you also enabled me to actually put the words to the images and tell you the story of how this came about. So can't thank you enough for that. And it really is a great layout, and hopefully we'll see it in the flesh, physical soon, I hope, as well.
Very soon, because your pictures, I think, they made the Art Talk magazine. I have to say, it was Maria. It's here. 1 second. Here we are. So, but good morning, Maria. So from Torino, I think. Hello.
No, I am in London. I'm back.
Okay.
Hey, hi, Carrie, Maryam, Sophie.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining us. So as I was saying, Maryam, this Once Upon a Turquoise Past is about her voyage in her past, but centered in her neighbored present, as she says, images captured in the light of early winter Lighton House, and also inspired, Maryam, by two wonderful poets, one Persian, Attar of Nishapur, and Baudelaire. So
absolutely.
What else?
So yes, so perhaps what we do is, why don't we walk you through the space and go and sit in front of some sort of corner with images, and then we can start talking about how this came about. Wonderful. And how my relationship with Carrie Scott also developed, and how Anne-Sophie got involved in the project. So why don't we walk you through for now into one of the spaces, and I will explain.
We're following
you. So
there you go, because I'm trying to do camera work here. It's slightly hilarious. So forgive the shaky arm.
Fantastic.
So we're walking through here into the Lindley space.
Yes. It's a wonderful space.
Yes. It's all dressed up for Christmas, as you can see. And why don't we position ourselves in this section here?
Yeah, you know what I could even do? Is I'm going to put you guys down over here.
And we can all sit in front.
Can you see?
Can you see the background?
I can see. Perfect.
Okay,
is the globe very annoying?
No, it's fine. We just would love to have later a little detail of the picture.
Of course, we'll take you through. So to put you into context, the way this started was very much in the light of winter last year in November, in the heart of lockdown, pretty much in London, and we were all inside. We were all, closed up into, our homes and into our psyches as well. And it allowed us all, I think, to kind of think a lot. And in my case, I read a lot of poetry, and I think thought a lot about the past, my own personal past, and hence why Baudelaire came in a lot into play. And this Invitation Voyage, which is very much part of my upbringing in France, where I did my baccalaureate. And that piece was, in fact, my final piece, which I had to analyze. And I couldn't stop thinking about it because I kept thinking about a voyage into my own past, into my own culture, and how many years it had been since I had left Iran, 40 some years, effectively, without ever going back. And I had a true yearning, you know, in normal day-to-day life, you go on about your business, and you don't have those moments of true reflection, of sitting down and seeing what it is that you miss so much in your life. And I just realized how much I missed my country, and how much I missed the splendor and the richness of its culture. And so I started playing around with books, you know, Rolf Benny's book, Bridge of Turquoise. I started playing with Barbie dolls from my childhood and placing them in front of images, Barbie dolls. That's why we have Anne-Sophie here, because the Barbie doll was a precursor to all this, actually. And placing them in front of these wonderful sites, you know, from Persepolis to Hafiz's tomb to Shiraz and just, you know, revisiting my own country in this very fantasy world situation, and remembering how much beauty it has offered to the world over 3,000 years, and how, most unfortunately, in the last 40 years, there's been such a negative focus on politics and on tension, on things that really shouldn't matter. And I always say, where politics often fails, art wins. And I think this is really a classic case of that. So, and then my memory sort of transported me into this amazing shoot that took place in 1969 in Isfahan. It was done by the American fashion photographer Henry Clark. And he took Marissa Berenson and Lauren Hutton, the great, you know, mannequins of the time, to Isfahan, and shot them against the backdrops of the tile domes and just, you know, beautiful colors of lapis and turquoise and all of that, which are really the colors of Iran. And I've always had those images in my mind, thinking, you know, what we were, where we were, how much the West was looking at the East, how much, you know, the West was putting Persia on a platform, and how terrible the situation is that, you know, in just 40 years, everything is twisted on its head, and we've lost that luster and beauty and you know, appreciation of a culture which should not be forgotten about. And hence, I said to myself, you know, I would love nothing more than to have a dialogue with that, and with those pictures, and pictures of also Elizabeth Taylor, shot by Firouz Zahedi in Isfahan as well, and Persepolis as well. And so I said, you know, where can I do this here in England? And I thought about Leighton House, you know, in my backyard, which is Lord Leighton's home. He was an amazing Orientalist. He traveled the world, and traveled especially to the Middle East, to Syria, to Lebanon, to Iran, and brought back these marvels, absolute marvels, from tiles to ornaments and artifacts. And it's, you know, the space is known for this wonderful Arabian court that they call it the Arabian court, but it's really across the Middle East, you know. And it's a gem, it's a sanctuary. It's always been a sanctuary for me. I've always gone there for a moment of, you know, pause and reflection. And so that's pretty much how this came about, effectively. The rest I showed. Why don't I pass it on to Carrie now, so she explains how our relationship started, and then we'll pass it on to Anne-Sophie. She explains a little bit her role in this. Carrie.
Well, so what was obviously remarkable for me as a curator was discovering these layers that Maryam just so perfectly described, like all these cultural references, many of which I didn't know. You know, I knew I'm an art historian, my focus is photography. So I knew some of the shoots she was referring to, but not these layers in Iran. And I actually didn't even know about Leighton House. And we had lunch just as lockdown was lifting, and I was asking her what she'd been up to, and Maryam showed me a few pictures from the shoot, and I was immediately drawn to this layered piece, right? This storytelling about her own personal past and the packing. And I'm doing this because that's how it felt. It felt like I was peeling back layers of Maryam, layers of my own self, right? And the way that I had gone through lockdown thinking about missing America. And I have pivoted. I was born here, but I grew up in the States. So I've had this sort of dual nationality my whole life as well. So they really, really spoke to me. But honestly, just the impact of the images, and I am going to pick you up and take you closer to them, because the layers that Maryam is conceptually talking about, she somehow like painted them into these photographs. And I'm using the word painting really deliberately because these are painterly. Like they are pushing photography past what we know of a lens and light, right? She has built up this story that is so multiple and so just profoundly dense, right? And she said all that, right? The density of that comes across in her words, but the images do it even more so. So I'm gonna pick you up and just move you in so you can see a little bit better what I'm talking about. But you know, in an image like this, right, you've got carpet on tile, you've got this amazingly ornate dress, you've got this woman, and you've got this story that goes and goes and goes. And it felt immediately like I was going into some other place, some other world, really, that is only Maryam's, right? It does have all these references, but it doesn't belong to any of us until she gives it to us. Same rules over here.
And of course, we were very lucky with the light, which is unusual in London, as you know, in the month of November. I think all the stars were aligned that day in order to have this, you know, light contrast between shadow and light and shadow play.
Which is today, and we're, oh, shall we do it the Monday or Tuesday?
Exactly.
And we were, oh, okay, let's do it the Monday. And then the Tuesday was like terrible, great, like actually today in London.
Exactly.
So we were really lucky.
We were very lucky.
Yeah.
And this is Anne-Sophie, who I've had the pleasure of knowing now over 3 years, and the pleasure was even more now, 4 years.
4 years.
Yes, it's crazy. Actually, 2017, you're right, 2017, 4 years. And Anne-Sophie and I met during the making of a book that I did, Voices East London, on East London creatives. And she's French, she's been living in London now for 10 years. She's an amazing designer, she's an amazing set designer. She's done a lot of TV production. And the gist and the bulk of your work is very much about upcycled, recycled fashion accessories. And as you can see, she's dressed to wonder with semi-Barbie dolls and just a very festive seasonal attire. So Anne-Sophie's dress, which Carrie just showed here, this was made by Anne-Sophie. And we actually have the dress here, which we will show you in a bit as well, which is very exciting. And yes, so you were styling on this, and it was.
So could you talk about how you two collaborated? You know, did you say, Sophie, this dress?
Yes, I will be completely brief, and I'll let you speak about the dress. For me, the reason why I went to Anne-Sophie was A, she's a friend. I admire her creativity. I admire everything that she does. I love her opulence and color and energy. And I think we all needed a bit of color and energy during a time which really lacked much that, you know, in our lives. And what I wanted this to be, I wanted this to be a sort of Alice in Wonderland, falling down the rabbit hole, a day of fantasy, a day of wonder, quite selfish, I suppose, to a certain extent, in that we wanted to have fun as well.
Yeah, it was our own fantasy, I guess.
So I let you speak. Tell us about the dress.
Yeah, no, I remember like getting this like WhatsApp message in the middle of like lockdown, and you know, I was a bit like down, depressed, and just working from home, not able to actually dress up because there was nowhere to go. And Maryam was like, oh, I want to do this shoot. Can you have some outfit for this? And I was, oh, sounds like so exciting. And the great thing with Maryam is she's very trustful, and she's very, everything go as long as, you know, it looked good and opulent. Because I've worked on styling on some job where people come with a Pantone and they go with a color chart and they're like, oh, not sure this color's gonna match this. And I immediately know like that's not going to work, because that's not how I work. I work really organically. So, you know, I like to try and experiment things and see how things goes. I don't really storyboard or plan things. I just bring lots of stuff into space and try it on. And I think it worked also as your, you know, your muse, Sarah, which is like beautiful, beautiful girl and also beautiful soul, where you also have a friendship with. And the makeup artist, Jessica
Cheetham. Jessica Cheetham, Sarah Lovegrove. Sarah, we've worked with, in fact, together for a number of shoots, and she's a classical ballet dancer by origin. And she's just has, as you said, this unbelievable energy, which floats and dances. And there was a lot of floating and dancing going on that day. She was wearing her ballet shoes. It was whimsical. It was a fairy tale. It was playful. And Jessica is an amazing makeup artist who can make those things happen as well. So you guys work really well together.
It's like not being afraid of trying things and, you know, going more and more, sometimes pushing a bit the limits. And
so maybe, Anne-Sophie, you want to talk about this necklace. So this is Sarah lying on the oriental carpet at Leighton House. And this is one of the most beautiful necklaces that Anne-Sophie has made to adorn Sarah's body. And so we call the title on this image is Bejeweled. And you know, it's a moment of rêverie, it's a moment of dream and fantasy and just pure beauty, really, on many levels.
Yeah, and I guess it's also, John, your interest for like the feminine sublime.
Exactly.
And the fact, like, you can see for me, like, this is a pure like female gaze.
Exactly.
Because obviously you have this beautiful girl which is naked with only like a neck piece, but it's sensual. I would say it's not sexual, and it's this kind of very, I would say in French, enveloppant, like wrapping gaze with the light on this sublime feminine body, just with this necklace, which when you come closer, you see all the detail, and it's not like a classical piece. It's also like kind of a patchwork of reference and surrealism. And you have also, I think the common point also that we have is like I think through your studies and we have lots of different reference. This is a bit like a palimpsest and like a mismatch of things. So you have your Oriental
vision and aesthetics, but mixed with a contemporary
and more surrealistic approach, and kind of the London eccentricity that go as another layers. And I think that's how we can mix it work, basically.
I totally agree. And I think actually this is a really nice transition to those two pieces over there.
Absolutely.
So we can talk about the past and the present.
Absolutely.
Maybe you want to, if I twist this around?
No, okay. I'm very happy. I mean, just keep me on camera.
We're walking with you. Yes.
Okay, so this is a diptych called the ephemeral, effectively, and you can see this dialogue between this contemporary woman, very adorned in a very contemporary manner. Again, the dress is by Anne-Sophie, with all the bubble and color and energy and, you know, just really vivacious and present. But this lady, this woman, is having a dialogue with the past. And the painting in question is actually a painting by Lord Leighton himself, you know, with references to the Renaissance. And what interested me in this painting, aside from sort of the color, you know, as being the main transition between the today and yesterday, effectively, was a dialogue that a woman would have. Issues of identity, issues of self, absolutely. And it's, you know, you are invited through this miniature-like approach to a painting, which effectively is a photograph, but looks like a painting, as Carrie has pointed out, to enter this other world. You then enter, then she enters this other world and keeps going back and forth through a layering of images. And it's a window onto window onto window, effectively, almost a tunnel vision into our past as women. And with
it's
all
even like a feministic, like a feminist aspect, because it's like this woman that also expressing herself wearing lots of color and with more classical, you know, turn on the side, maybe more a woman of a role having to be more subtle and say, oh, look what we owned through the, you know, we did this fight and now we can express ourselves more.
But, and
as women.
I love that. So, and one of the things that I think is so remarkable with this piece and many of them is that the female gaze or the male gaze in this image is being completely cut off, right? She is not interested in us at all. She's not interested in the viewer. And nor is the person in the painting. So you have a double where they're both like, we're in our own worlds and we're fine.
It's intimate. It's an intimate piece where we've caught her in a most intimate moment.
Exactly.
Frankly, where, as you said, there's unawareness with regards to what's happening around her. She's just interested in this dialogue with self, really, in a sense. And with all the softness, I mean, you pointed out something really lovely about the other image is, yes, it's all about the sublime feminine, but as you said, in these particular pieces, there is a great emphasis on sensuality, on light, on softness, on form and figure. And I love working with dancers because that's, you know, you really focus on muscular dynamics and grace, I think. And that grace could be, you know, in the sense of physical grace, but it can also be in the sense of spiritual grace and everything that is enveloped within the theme of the sublime feminine.
Would you just quickly talk technicality here?
Yes.
Right. So you obviously did not see this image in your lens.
No.
So,
no.
But this came to you afterwards. And that's, I think, where this painterly thing happens with you. You take the shot and then something else explodes.
Yes. I've always been incredibly focused on, I think that's one thing that actually marries us all together in a sense, is this love for feeling, for sentiment, and the expression of that sentiment. I also personally am always very focused on past and tradition and nostalgia. I have a melancholic, you know, approach, a poetic approach to life. And, you know, I mean, just working with Anne-Sophie just says it all, you know, she's poetry in the walking, really. So yes, so basically, of course, I saw the image of, you know, Sarah very spontaneously standing in front of the painting. But then I started seeing this dialogue, this continuous dialogue of woman with self and with past, with other women in history and with her future, and almost this yearning, you know, reaching out to this other woman, touching, feeling, and conversing, dreaming, maybe.
So much empathy too.
Yeah, so.
But I feel like we're taking over. Do you have questions for us? We're just
Actually, I do from Maria Sukar regarding the necklace before, because of course it's absolutely magnificent. Do you still have the necklace on display, like on opening night?
Unfortunately, the necklace has now been taken away.
Oh.
I wish we did. We did have it on opening night.
We do still have the dress,
but
though.
we have the dress.
Yes, the dress. We would love to see. We love to see. But no, it's. I think, you know, all your, you know, pictures, Maryam, are has used an invitation or voyage. You know, from, it's a very Baudelaire. This
Yes.
Yes, it is, and you know, with
Let me
this
go to the dress now.
Oh, the dress. Yes, we're coming to the dress now. But it is incredible to see these pieces, you know, and being, you know, being told the story behind all your wonderful images. So
Sophie, you must say a word or two about this dress, I think, which is, you know, truly Alice in Wonderland. In Lewis Carroll, you know, we're one of the titles of one of the images is actually "We're all mad here," and we are all mad here in the bestest of ways. It's about creative madness. It's about creation, and I always refer to woman as creation as well. You know, she is the ultimate creator, right? She's at the origin, really, of all, and this is a physical manifestation of creation done by Anne-Sophie.
Yeah, I mean, this dress is made with all recycled material. Lots of it actually were found in like charity shop, flea market. So it's all like kind of sustainable. And there is this mix of Orientalism with the shape. It really matched like the Leighton House like tiles, and then I have like kind of my own twist of like the doors adorned with the pom-pom. So the doors is kind of this uncanny surrealistic element, and also kind of give it a twist, and the nostalgia, because I think we link with Maryam is this like nostalgic feeling using toys from childhood, and toys that everybody had and can like refer to and remember as being part of this kind of ideal past.
Exactly.
If we can see a bit the old dress, if it's possible, slowly.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Oh, wonderful.
And maybe now you can put it into the context of the whole, so we can move over here and you will see the full whole at Leighton House through these images.
So the other thing that was wonderful about pulling the show together is you'll see these little groups, these little vignettes that we pulled together, that then on top of the massive layered narrative that Maryam is telling, we're telling sort of smaller stories. And this was really important.
And I think perhaps we need to mention this approach to this. I usually do black and white, and I usually do larger format photographs. And for a change, we decided with Carrie, and Carrie had a lot to do with this, about making more intimate pieces, smaller pieces that draw you in effectively, and adding a layer of the Eastern penchant towards the East, towards the Orient, and so forth, by making them look almost like Persian miniatures effectively. So with the help of these amazing framers called Canford Framers in London, who have an amazing penchant for also design and color, we developed these jewel-like miniature paintings effectively that look like pages of illumination, that look like Persian miniatures. And we designed, this Persianate accolade mount with the gold filleting, with these beautiful colors from lapis to emerald to turquoise and so forth. And the bamboo is a bit unusual, but it's a referencing to the period, which I think about, which is the late 70s and 80s, where bamboo in design was very present. And so hence the bamboo, the use of bamboo.
And what about this ghostly figure?
Yes.
How and what is happening here, Maryam?
So this ghostly figure here is a nod to another part of my life, which is New York in the 80s. When, as a young person, I moved to New York, and we used to go with lots of friends from the mid 80s onwards. And as you all know, New York was a manifestation of a bombastic marriage between music, the club scene, the art scene. And, as a young person, you don't realize it. You really don't realize what you're living through effectively. And, going through all the wonderful clubs from MK to Palladium to Studio to all these unbelievable places, which I've had the pleasure of frequenting and experiencing the color and the vibe, this very unique vibe and energy, which has never come back since. I don't think, we'll ever see that again. And
we're back.
And effectively, we'll never ever see that vibe and that energy ever again, effectively. But I lived through it, and I remember going to this club called Area, where you would walk down the corridor to get to the dancing hall, but on the sides there were these vitrines done by Basquiat, done by Andy Warhol, and there were moving people with adornments and unbelievable rich. A rich overflow of costumes and color and everything. So for me, this image is very much belongs to that past, to that New York past. It's that 54, again, a dream. It was a dream. We all lived this dream without realizing that we were living this dream effectively. And I'm just so glad to have experienced it, frankly. So that's a nod to New York, to the days of Halston, the days of disco and just the marvel that all that had. It's one of my favorite periods in cultural history, basically. So
indeed beautiful. It's poetry. It's poetry, as I always described you, Maryam. It's beautiful. Thank you.
And so now we have another set.
You made it come true. But before I have another question from Maria.
Yeah.
If you can show us the pink ballerinas in Set Me Free and
Oh.
Polar Lines, talk them about a little bit about them, if it's possible.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe we can move actually towards the large picture over there and talk about that.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Move
Yeah,
to the small
We're
one.
coming.
We're coming.
At the same time, we're watching.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Maria.
So
Because you were
this
there
was-
last
this
week.
was done. So two things about this image. So she's the dancer. She's actually wearing a, believe it or not, it's a prom dress from the 1950s that I found in Boston in a vintage shop.
No.
Yes, yes, many moons ago. And I always found it so romantic and so beautiful. And she's wearing, you know, ballet shoes, quite derelict. And I've always been really attracted to beauty and dereliction. That combination, that beautiful combination of dereliction and beauty, again, related to, of course, the passing of time.
Romanticism.
It's
the
yeah.
19th century.
It's a 19th century approach to, yes, romantic
To-
approach
yeah.
to painting, to mood and theme. And of course, with the help of Anne-Sophie, as you can see, this mad parrot. The bird features heavily, actually, in all of this. We have the parrot, Anne-Sophie's beautiful adornment, head adornment, with the parrot. We have, later we can show you as well, we used a peacock, which is very present in, you know, Eastern fables and fantasy. And we have the green parrot, which is also very present in Holland Park. So it's linking, and of course the poetry of Attar, of Nishapur, and the Conference of the Birds. He's known for the Conference of the Birds. And it's a nod to Phoenix rising, you know, from the ashes, a symbol of women, possibly, of woman, actually, possibly with a capital W, and the might and the power and the energy. And in this case, the absolute mad playfulness that Anne-Sophie helped create. And we did
And
something
what
that,
about the frame?
yes, I
Yeah.
mean, the mad, you know, it had it
But
not,
that's not like a Photoshop thing. That's like a proper. She
That's
was literally
real.
holding this frame. We were like so heavy. We had to push it through the room, and she was holding it. So that's actually a proper.
it's a proper frame
Yeah,
from the
proper-
museum.
yeah.
We were very naughty,
Yeah,
very
we
naughty.
touch everything. Like
Because it was in the middle of the pandemic, so nobody was looking. And this
it was like a
frame-
night in the museum. Like we were like locked
Exactly.
into this place, and we like had to play around. We were we have to make sure to put everything back in place. Like
it was resting. This thing was resting against the wall. And I said to Sarah, I'm like, just take it. And she's like, I can't. And I said, just take it. Take it down. Just take it. We'll do this. And she did. So it was a frame into a frame into a frame. It looks like a mirror, but it
like
isn't.
a mise en abîme.
A mise en abîme.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. A mise en abîme, as Anne-Sophie says.
But also, I love that Maria asked for these to look at
Yes.
these pictures, because these, I think, are so playful, and they have the thing that, right, you've captured is the joy that you all felt taking these shots, right? Like all of you were in
Yes.
this.
It was a complete and utter, I have to say, I would have never achieved this unless I had the fantastic collaboration of makeup, of styling and model, all of whom were ready to play. We were ready to play.
Yeah.
We had it.
Yeah, this I think because we started quite with the 70s, so I don't know who's the designer, but it's amazing.
The designer was by Melissa Odebash. So Melissa is a dear friend, and her penchant for styling is very much the 1970s, actually. She is
Glamour.
very glamour, you know, very studio, actually, all of that. And that silver dress that the model is wearing in that 54 shot, as I call it, New York shot, is a Melissa Odebash. But then on the flip side, we have this more, you know, crazy, you know, romantic, but playful.
Yeah, I think by that time we were we pushed everything a bit forward, and I mean there was no drinking involved. It was really early in the morning, but it was as if we were a bit taking.
I would actually argue that it wasn't even drinking, it was psychedelic.
Yeah,
I think it was like
It
some
was
sort
like
of like,
Alice
you
in
know,
Wonderland getting the mushroom for the.
yes, it was a mushroom moment.
Yeah.
So let's go towards more ballets.
Maryam,
Ballet.
one more. I would like to ask you about this dress. Where is this dress?
This dress is with me, not here, but with me
Okay,
in
very
London.
good.
Yes.
I would love to see it when I come to London.
Show it to you, of course. So this is more from that moment. And the one thing I could say about the frames, the frame within the frame, as you can see, there's a lot of aesthetic usage of frame within a frame. And I think what was going on in my head here was that we all felt slightly incarcerated, slightly, you know, dying to burst out of homes, of frames, of doors. You know, as you remember that moment, we would stand at the door clapping for NHS, you know, the door featured so heavily, or, you know, people living in buildings, you know, when you looked at Italy, for instance, you know, people standing on balconies and coming out of windows, singing, dreaming, trying to explode out of their, you know, daily misery, I suppose, in a way. I think this was, you know, this yearning for freedom and liberty and you know, back to normality, you know, in a very abnormal kind of world, effectively. So,
and I guess also as a woman, we also kind of have to fit in, and it's, you know, not taking too much space, too much room. And Sarah's is extremely classical beauty that is like kind of giving the permission to be, no, you can break the frame, you can come out of the frame, and don't be afraid of like taking the room, the space in the room, really.
So well said. There's also a detail in this piece in particular. There's a painting behind that there's a man overlooking a beautiful figure who was clearly doing something and has been interrupted. And I think that takes on some of what Maryam is speaking to with female with a capital F and woman with a capital W, and what it is to sort of exist as a woman in the world.
And blurring the lines, you know, this piece here, I love playing with flu images, blurred images. And I think, you know, I've actually called this, the title of this piece is Blurring the Lines. And it is blurring the lines about, you know, definitions, about roles, about self and identity, about the past and the present. So everything is somehow blurred, and but in a hopefully in a beautiful manner, because I'm all about beauty in general. I know it's a taboo word to use in the art world, beauty. Heaven forbid if something's actually beautiful, but actually I love beauty. You know, everything I do has to be about some form of beauty, conceptually and actually in the physical form.
But I think there's someone who said it, and someone will surely watch this Zoom and say if the person was this, but I can't remember right now because it's too early. But someone said it's okay to use beauty as the bait, and I think that's what you do.
That's it.
You use it to get us in, to take us to a much more elaborate, complicated story. But it starts with beauty.
It is about eye candy. You know, it's the eye candy first, the surface, and then once you're hooked, that then, you know,
then you're in trouble.
Then you're in trouble. Then you're in trouble. Now we're going to move to another corner.
How are we doing on time? Are you happy with us, or do you need us to?
We are doing perfectly on time. Very. Okay. Don't worry. No, I love this last description of beauty. It is what you said. It's you know, you get into this beautiful image, but then there is all the story behind that goes on and on and on, and also reflects a bit all of us a bit, you know, all the women on all our in a spiritual and touching way.
I would like to take this now, and I would like Carrie to actually talk about a few of these pieces, but in particular about this piece here.
So if I'm being totally honest, this was the image that, again, saw it teeny tiny on Maryam's phone and grabbed her arm, looked her dead in the eyes and said, this is a show. This is so important. And I think it's for, God, a number of reasons, some of which I can rationalize and others that I can't. It's just emotionally really so strong, right? And if you look at the portrait of the woman and the way that she is holding herself, right? She is clasping her shoulder, clutching her side. She is both protecting herself and nourishing herself. Then you have what Maryam has done to the image, right? These layers, this masking, this veiling and unveiling, this thing about not being actually able to capture a person through an image. And I think that's what in all of Maryam's work is the thing that speaks to me most loudly. And for a second, let me go back to Luce Irigaray, who was an amazing French theorist who talked about women not as, women as not one single sex. So she wrote an amazing book called The Sex Which Is Not One. And this one image, I think, does that. It says women cannot be defined by sexual fantasy. They can't be defined by motherhood. They can't be defined by creator. They are so much more complicated and wonderfully so. And I think that this honestly is one of the first portraits I've ever seen where we as viewer are not able to see this person as an identity or a single identity. She becomes multiple in this masking. So sorry, I've just totally waxed poetic, but you can tell it really, really got me. And then I think as this, again, this narrative around it, that we've built this little vignette with the two figures flanking on either side, these slightly broader perspectives. It's just a remarkable series that is completely singular in my mind. It's like nothing I've ever seen.
Maybe we move you to this other corner as well. Just going to show you, if you let me know that you can see everything.
Yes, yes, very slowly, yes. This one I haven't seen, Maryam, actually, the one above.
The one above.
Yes.
So the one above is, again, this woman almost in her ivory tower. Again, it's a dialogue with the past. As you can see, I've tried to involve a lot of, interior architecture and detailing from Leighton House. Traditionally, I've done, a lot of the sublime feminine placed in outdoor nature, the female body contrasting and, playing a tension, a form of tension between form, space, and place, which generally takes place in big nature and big sky, like the American West, like, Iceland. And then here we are suddenly going into a much more intimate space, into an interior space. And hence the interior architecture obviously plays an important role. And I really wanted to layer those elements from Leighton House, which is so rich in itself in culture and history and storytelling, with this female figure, basically. And perhaps we can end on a bright note, and we shall end on one image, which I think kind of says it all for me as far as woman is concerned. And so, can you see? The Secrets of the Sun Are Yours to Hold, a title by Rumi. And there we have it, this feminine sublime in all her might, in all her grandness. Very, very lucky, as we said earlier, to have had this beautiful November day and to have these rays, which are not exaggerated. They're not post-production rays. They were just absolutely, it was a moment, it was a divine moment. I think, honestly, it was some sort of divine intervention that took place that day. With the rays coming through the Mashrabiya, this beautiful Eastern approach to windows, and allowing the light to play and allowing the light to dance, to bring out the beauty of the interiors, but most importantly, to bring out the beauty of this soulful energy that is woman, basically.
And once again, it's the female gaze, because you show the skin, but it's not, obviously it's not showing. It's showing without showing. It's very warming. You get this actually robe that Sarah actually brought just to keep her warm. So it wasn't supposed to be part of the shoot, and it was actually so beautiful and goes so well with the space that actually we decided to use it as a proper outfit for the shoot.
And that's where the spontaneity came into play, like you said.
Yeah.
Nothing was planned, nothing was pre-sketched. This was a robe, funnily enough, a Versace robe, which is such an 80s thing. Like who wears a Versace robe these days? But she just happened to have it, and I think must have been playing in her own head And as you said, the color was perfect, and it just worked, and we grabbed it intuitively. Intuition had a lot to do with this, I think. So maybe Carrie,
magical moment, and again, such wonderful coincidences. As again, this is incredible. I love that.
You give place to coincidence, because on some shoot everything is so prep. You get everything on a rail, and you have to do one look after the other. And I think, we have this open mind and headspace to let stuff happen.
Yes.
Yeah, and like happy accidents.
And it took over on its own, basically.
But that's where Maryam is so exceptional, right? She's so generous and trusting and capable of so much that you run. She just runs with things and brings out the best in sort of everyone she collaborates with. So bravo.
She does, and all of you were a wonderful team. And now I've got so many beautiful comments, which I from Lindsay. It was really magical and radical. And Emile, amazing work, light, color, and beauty. As I'm an instant fan. So now we have a couple of. If anyone would like to speak to Maryam and to Carrie or. And Sophie, please do. You have a couple of minutes that you have this incredible team together. Please let me know. Otherwise, I thank you so much, Maryam, and for everybody who was with us today, because it was again. We are honored that you had your beautiful essay that we could already read. But to see it again, it's always another thing.
Can I do my little sales plug? We do have some books available for purchase, as well as these are all limited editions in various sizes. So if anyone needs that, please just ask Carolina, and I can pass all of that on.
Yes. Do you have any website that you can write on the chat in case, or later? Don't worry. Otherwise.
I can't do it right now, no, because I'd have to do it that way, and it just would not be a good look.
I was hoping for the multitasking here.
Ambidextrous. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. If you could see us, I've been holding this tripod. I mean, it's all pretty lo-fi here this morning.
But I have to say one thing. I do have to end on one note as well, is to really thank Linley and the whole team at Linley and David as well in particular. And we can do a quick switch.
Oh no, he's hiding.
Mo has to come in. This is Mo Moseniches, does all the PR and everything, marketing at Linley. Honestly,
nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Best collaboration ever. Just such a wonderful marriage of art and design in the most stupendous location, in beautiful surrounds, and I could not have asked for more, really. So,
thank you. We're delighted to have these beautiful prints in our showroom, and we've had such great feedback so far. That's been amazing.
Thank you.
And how long, Maryam? You haven't told us yet. I know. How long will it be at Lindsay?
I believe until the 28th of November, Saturday 28th. Yeah.
So hurry up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but thank you. We are already got this wonderful Christmas magical moment through your wonderful location. It's beautiful. We can't wait to be there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maryam, and really
and Mo. We send you all our love, best wishes for Christmas.
Thank you again.
The holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to all, and thank you for joining the Art Talks.
Thank you again.
Bye. Goodbye. Have a wonderful morning.
Thank you. Bye.
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 I thank everyone for joining today. Sorry, for everywhere, wherever you are in the art world. Thank you so much for being so early with our breakfast art talk. Good morning. I hope you had a wonderful coffee along these beautiful images. Goodbye and have a wonderful day.